I'm Keila Padilla, and I'm from Rockwell, Texas, and I'm a senior at SAGU. My journey to SAGU began, I was a little girl. My uncle and aunt both attended SAGU, so I would hear them talking about the experiences, the amazing professors they had, the education that they got, the quality of the people, and just the environment and everything that is SAGU. So I knew about it, and I had always said, like, I really want to go to SAGU, and I got smuggled into campus days as a middle schooler. I was not even supposed to be here, but I came somehow. I even stayed the night, and I remember stepping in the doors of the Schaefer and seeing the worship team for late night, and I said, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to go. I want to go to school there. And of course, my parents thought it was super crazy. They're like, SAGU is so expensive. I don't know how we're going to do it. But I knew that I just had to have faith in the Lord and just be consistent in the dreams that He had placed in my heart to be here. So I think just me being really persistent and telling my parents, like, this is where the Lord wants me, this is where the Lord wants me, until they just got super annoyed and tired of hearing that. And in high school, I faced a lot of challenges just personally, and trusting in the Lord and believing that He could actually make a way for me to be here. And some way, somehow, I ended up here, and I got a scholarship to run cross country. I mean, the Lord was just constantly bringing in the finances for me to be able to stay. And so just seeing Him be so faithful in allowing me to be here and to stay here and finish my education has been just proof of the goodness of God, and seeing His hand over my life shows that my persistence with my parents and just my passion in my heart for being here and learning how to be a better leader really was something that the Lord put on my heart, and it's all paid off in the end. And I'm so grateful that this is where I ended up and that this is where I'm graduating. So my journey in music began since I was a little girl. For as long as I can remember, I was singing around the house, and my parents were just amazed at how fast I could memorize songs on the radio. So I started singing when I was really young, but I remember my first time singing in church. I was about 5 years old, and it was whenever at church they used to do like special songs. And I don't even remember what song it was, but I remember clearly just loving the feeling of being on stage and singing songs. And then as I grew older, I was involved in the worship teams at my church and leading for youth group, and I got the opportunity to lead at some camps before I came to SAGU. So that's kind of how that began. It's just always been a big part of my life. My dad was a pastor for some time, and he allowed me to lead worship. I was like 13. Don't know why he let me on the stage, but he did. So it's kind of just been always like intertwined in my life some way, somehow. And so that's kind of how my journey with music started. So my journey at SAGU began about 4 years ago. I'm a senior now. So in 2016, I got here, moving in. My first impression of SAGU was everyone is so nice. And I just felt the warmth and the connection from the people that were checking me in, to walking into Savelle and meeting my RA and the dorm pastors. And that was just a super cool experience to just feel like I belonged, like I could be myself. And then the day that classes started, meeting the professors and feeling the intimidation of like, this is college and it's gonna be super scary, but then seeing that they truly care about the students, they truly care about your education and your personal life. So that was a really cool experience, just feeling like I belonged, like I was home, and this is where I needed to be. And it was super affirming because I did have so much fear coming in. And then my junior year, I became an RA in Savelle, and that was probably one of the biggest things that I'm taking away from SAGU is getting to lead the students and my friends that go to school with me. That has been super life-changing. Just having people believe in me to be able to lead others is something that I didn't really experience before coming to SAGU, and now being here and seeing how much we're entrusted to do this is super cool. So that's probably one of the biggest takeaways, is being an RA, and then of course being a part of the worship department. That's just a whole, like, I could talk about that forever, but just being empowered to lead. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects of SAGU that I love, is that they believe in the students and they'll fight for the students, and they'll always push us to be a better version of ourselves. I will never forget the time when I got asked to be a part of late night worship the very first time, and I was super honored but really, really nervous. And I remember just practicing and rehearsing with all of the upperclassmen. That seemed like a very, very scary thing to me. But once the rehearsal started going and just all of the preparation that goes into late night worship and campus days, I don't think you realize it until you're a part of it, coming in as like a student in high school to attend late night worship and then being on the platform is a very different thing. And it just, the energy and the excitement that is in our hearts to lead the student body. And so my very first late night worship is probably gonna be my most memorable one, because that's the one that I'd been looking forward to since I heard about SAGU as a student, as a high school student, coming and attending and then being able to be a part of it. And then as the years went on, being able to lead a team. I think just all of the late night worships in general have been super cool, and each one has brought something different and special. And those are just the things that I'm gonna cherish. So SAGU Worship has meant so much to me, and I would love to see more teams being sent out to lead churches or camps or conventions, things like that. That is something that I will never forget, just having the opportunity to get outside of the doors of SAGU, going to different states, even going to different countries. I've had the opportunity to go to Panama and Costa Rica and Croatia, and that's been such a big part of my time here at SAGU, and just specifically SAGU Worship. I think that that is something that's so empowering. Just like I've said before, SAGU is just all about empowering the students to use the giftings and the talents that the Lord has given them. And so one of the biggest things that I remember from being on a traveling team for 3 years is getting to meet pastors and youth groups and students that really look up to us when we're really not that big of a deal. In our heads, we're just regular college students, but to them, we're an example of what they could be if they decided to come to SAGU. And really, that's just the hands and feet of Jesus, not just singing on a stage or leading worship, but when we would go to camps, being involved with the students, running the games, and going to Costa Rica and Panama, worshiping with the missionary kids. Like, those moments are so much more special than the moments that we get to be on the stage and actually lead and sound super good and sing amazing. It's more about the heart that we have going in and serving the people and meeting them where they're at. And so I think that I would love to see SAGU just send out more teams and even create a better system for reaching different areas, not just the ones that we've already been to, but expanding and going all around the globe and just sharing the love that we have here and the presence of God that we feel in chapel and on this campus, and taking it and sharing it just around the world. That would be super, super cool.